I saw them in the Greek Theater, and they were doing that. And somebody else did that before, sure. I don't know. So, I'm probably going to do it out of this, or maybe...
So, can you all hear me? What? Yeah. So, there's also another thing happening just tonight, but it happens like every 3 months or so at a place called the Cotton Mill, which like you go down International and go over the 23rd thing and cup around to some little thing. It was actually an old cotton mill that was decommissioned in 1960 something or other. But it's a really nice live work space, and they had an open studios thing, and I told the story there. And so I was going to tell the story there and tell the story here, and I had an idea of what I was going to say over there. Oh, maybe I'll tell this story, that story, because I got a few arrows in my quiver at this point. It's fine. And I got there, and I had this in my bag because I'm going to be using it for work tomorrow. So I just happened to have this in my bag, and as I was like putting my shit down, I was like, there's a story right there. So I told a story that I wasn't expecting to tell. It was the first totally unpremeditated story I'd ever had to present. You know, in Fireside, there is a theme. You know, so you're like, oh, it's a theme about this or that, about, you know, things don't always go as planned, or this is what I did at Burning Man, or a crapshoot, or whatever it is. So I have like, I got a story that relates to this, and like, I know at least like 50% of what I'm gonna say. Great. So about 2 hours ago, I was somewhere else, and I was like, okay, let's see how this goes. And so
the story is about having a bullhorn, and
so when you're yelling at a crowd like, hey you people, all those people like, somebody say what? It's almost like you're at a wedding, and you're at the back end of the wedding. It's like, I'm sorry, are they saying the vows now? I don't know. Like, you get enough whiskey, like the bar is free, right? I don't know. So when you're yelling at a crowd that isn't necessarily already paying attention to you, you're maybe gathering some interaction between some people, but it gets lost in volume and nobody hears everything you're saying. That's how that works.
Good thing I love you. Actually, like, there was Aaron, right? No, it was like Patty, right? That's my new name for you. Like, he goes by Patience, some other like some fuck all on like Facebook. So I call him Patty now. That's my name for you. And I love him.
So
with the bullhorn, you can have an intimate conversation at a distance. So if there's a crowd of people over there, and you know nobody I know, like, hey, you in the purple. All of a sudden, like the guy in the purple. You can be articulate at a distance, which is a very unique thing to, you know, whether you know the person or don't. All of a sudden you're like, hey, you, and I can say, like...
When you're yelling, it always sounds fairly aggressive, like, ah! Even if I'm saying, I love you, it's like, it almost sounds like I hate you because I'm yelling.
So with this, I can say, hey, I love you. And I can say it at the same distance to that same person, that same crowd, and they're like, oh, that guy just told me he loved me, and I feel that.
So that's the unique aspect of this. So if you had ever gone to Stand by the Ton around the corner, you would remember me as being that guy that wasn't letting you into the party for 4 hours. Twice. That's like, oh, you're the guy that wouldn't let me in the party again this year. It was like an annual thing for me. But it was neat.
I'll tell you about how I learned that trick. It was the fire marshal. It wasn't me. I was the messenger. Sorry about that. I wanted you all in. I totally did.
So the bullhorn's a fabulous thing to have. Because you can do that. You can focus, and you can, you know, the ability to just sound nice at a distance to somebody you've either never met or you know, and everybody on the peripheral says like, oh, it was really nice that he said that so loudly. So what happened was, about 10 years ago, I'm working this party. It was a fundraiser for some Burning Man camp or something. I can't remember. And we had this group coming in called the Extra Action Marching Band. Yeah. And I gotta say, I'd only just discovered who they were because barely a month before that, I was at the Chinese New Year's parade downtown San Francisco, like a large, you know, like city-endorsed, commercial-sponsored, like Bank of America kind of event. And I'm just standing there watching, like, oh, I got some dancers, all right. So like, they're doing this, or like, oh, some big old, like, you know, dragon dancers. That's awesome. That's great. Fine. And all of a sudden, around the corner, it comes this, like, this willy-nilly, pell-mell mixed mash of, like, you people just came off the street. Is there a protest? And they go, no. They come around the corner, and all of a sudden, and then they form in lines, like, oh, like, what? So, if you don't know who the Extra Action Marching Band is, it's like all the people that were in band in high school, they got kicked out of band in high school, and they formed their own band. They got some really hot, slutty cheerleaders to go along with them. Yeah, really hot. Yeah, that was really good. And that was my, like, discovering the Extra Action Marching Band. How they got the city to hire them to do that, who knows how that conversation started or who the representative was. But it was like, I found, like, and they started, like, playing some of the, like, it was probably Dead Kennedys or something, or Led Zeppelin, you know. Fine, that's how I discovered it. So I'm at this thing, and they're coming in, and I'm like, oh yeah, wow, you guys awesome! And they're coming in, and they're carrying their instruments and stuff. And then this guy walks in. So this guy comes in, and is like, I'm the, we're gonna say A, ... hole. Hi, kids. So this guy says, I'm the, whatever, A with the bullhorn. It's like, well, I mean, obviously you're the A with a bullhorn. It's $10 because that's what they're charging everybody. So hey, it's $10. And he's like, no, you're like, I'm the, like, yeah, I got that. You're the guy with it, like, it's $10. And he was really stuck on not paying. Like, my job was like, you're paying. So eventually one of the band members comes back for, like, no, was part of the, like, carrying something brass. Like, oh, he's our A hole with the bullhorn. Like, oh, you're that one. Okay, fine, get it. So that was 10 years ago. About a few weeks ago, I was way somewhere else. It was really hot and dusty and over in Nevada. And it's something in the morning, and I'm at the Camp Carp camp, and we've all had a bunch of whiskey and a bunch of free pancakes, and they're blaring Black Sabbath because the Black Sabbath pancake breakfast thing. And there's that guy again with a bullhorn, and he's had just the right amount of whiskey and probably not enough pancakes. And I'm watching him just talking to anybody and just saying anything he wants. What do you say? Like, what are you doing? What are you guys? Like, you should do better with it. He's just saying whatever. I'm just, wow. So in the 10 years time before when he was that guy showing me at the party, I tried to charge him $10 for, to a little while ago, and I'm just watching him like in full form. In that time, I've been paid to use a bullhorn to address groups of people, like ads signed by the ton saying, "You're not getting in, except for that one guy. Can you let that one guy through? But you're not getting in still for 2 hours." Wasn't my. I'm sorry, it wasn't my fault. So that happened. So now I've been paid to do that. That's equipment sometimes for me, and I have it in my bag because I'm using it tomorrow night at Masqueradica to address the crowd at times. I'm getting paid to use that. But I realize he's my mentor. Is this generally like viscerally, socially dysfunctional, brilliantly high volume expressive individual my mentor? All right. So, and I brought that up to him, and I had a bullhorn, he had a bullhorn, so we had went back and forth. And he's doing some shit, and I'm doing some stuff, and I was like, so he's out there on the Esplanade, and people are just coming by, and he's just engaging everybody. And we also have the ramp of death, which is a ramp about this tall. On fire. So anybody going by can go over the ramp like, and we just treat it like it was an awesome thing. But so
he's out there, and I'm just like, I wouldn't do that. No, that's not what I do.
But the thing is, what I didn't know is he's been doing it for so long. Whoever he is in the rest of his world, the rest of his life, he was actually giving me advice. He had, at that point, after having done it for so long, and I don't think he quite knows it, but he had the sense of mentorship as well. He's like, no, that's not how you talk to people. Like, this is how you do it. And this other person came up and he was like giving lessons. And I don't think he knows he's a teacher. He is just so personally invested in what it's like to express yourself through that particular, engagement with people. Like, no, this is how it works. And he was just teaching. And he was, like I said, a lot of whiskey and not enough pancakes. But there was something in him saying, hey, I have something to share, regardless of how dysfunctional all of my general public expression is. And it was really endearing. And I felt really fortunate to have shown up, like, you can show up kind of anywhere and like anytime and all of that rigmarole and like, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're drinking, and we're not, it's on fire, it's not, is it mine, it's not yours, I don't know. To just realizing, oh, you actually taught me something. Because I'd seen him in performance over the last decade in various events. And I didn't actually know that he had taught me how to engage people in a very functional as well as jovial and random and brilliant way through this like dumb thing there. And by the way, his method, if it's not working, check it, which is why it's kind of broken. So I gotta say that he's the first teacher I met that didn't know he was a teacher. But when he was shown that somebody didn't know what to do with the equipment he's most familiar with, he showed up as a teacher, and he and I are going to have a conversation like in the near future about this. So beyond that, there's a lot of ways to talk to a lot of people. There's a lot of ways to be present with the person in front of you, whatever age they're at. I have an 11-year-old, and we talk a lot about stuff like front and center. And there's a lot of people that are way above me and below me, age or whatnot, status or not, and you figure out how to engage people. That's one interface, and it's taught me a lot of things. And I will say that for a number of years, I've taken my son to Burning Man a bunch of times. And I gotta say, giving a bullhorn to a 7-year-old, wow! And giving a bullhorn to 3 7-year-olds, oh boy! That was such a good time. When you're 7, you're like, part of your general experience when you're 7 is like, I don't know how to swear because you guys won't tell me those words. And the other part is like, nobody frickin' listens to me, and I can't say frickin' because you haven't teach me how to swear yet. I'm just gonna be frustrated. So everyone's like shushing you or putting you off or telling you to do stuff that's gonna teach you something. So when you give a 7-year-old a bullhorn, what happens is when they talk through that, the person they're talking to responds. Guaranteed. And like 7-year-olds like, this is like, oh wow, this is like a button I can push. Every time I talk to you through this, you are gonna talk to me.
Yeah.
Instead of like doing adult stuff, whatever that is. I don't know. And I gotta say, that was one of my best times at Burning Man, with like 3 7-year-olds in the cargo bike that I was driving, this little freewheel cargo, Mexican cargo bike, with like that, and they could speak to talk to anyone, and they just went for it. And it was really humbling, because I try and be like this loud, engaging, like, oh, you listen to me, I'm saying, like, do what I'm saying, like, and I just watched them like, wow, I've never seen that bridge between being able to and not being able to, and jumping from this tiny space of being 7 to you adult